Okay, if you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose when it comes to AI news, you are not alone. It's this daily, chaotic barrage of world-changing breakthroughs right next to, well, baffling breakdowns. So let's try and cut through some of that noise and figure out what's really going on.
One minute, you see a headline warning that a brand new AI model could be seriously dangerous for vulnerable people.
And then, the very next day, you see reports about that same AI fueling a public hoax, just citing sources that literally don't exist.
All while you have courts basically screaming at professionals to get their facts straight and stop using AI that just makes things up. It's a lot. So, how on earth do we make sense of any of this?
Well, we're going to break it down. We're going to look at 5 key arenas where this is all playing out. We'll start with the power struggle between the tech titans. Then we'll dive into the paradox of these brilliant but deeply flawed tools. We'll see how AI is actually being used at work. Spoiler alert, it's not what you think. Then we'll get into the fundamental fight over how to even build AI in the first place. And finally, the mad dash to write the rules for this whole new world.
So let's kick things off with the titans. Because this isn't just about a couple of companies trying to sell you a new app. Oh no, this is a clash of grand strategies, especially between Elon Musk's world and Google's massive ecosystem. And how they decide to build is going to shape how AI fits into all of our lives. And what's so fascinating here is just how different their playbooks are. Musk is playing a vertical game. He calls it the Muskonomy. The whole idea is to own every single piece of the chain. Think about it. Tesla cars collect real-world data, which feeds the models at xAI, which makes the Optimus robots smarter, and those robots can then help build better cars. It's this powerful, self-improving loop. Now Google, they're playing horizontally. They're weaving AI into everything they already have, making it this invisible, powerful layer in photos, in the cloud, in products that billions of us already use every single day. But Musk's grand vision, it's hitting some turbulence. On paper, the logic is undeniable. Combining Tesla's data with xAI's models is a killer combo. But in the real world, Tesla shareholders just shot down a proposal to formally link up with xAI. And why? They're worried about governance, about potential conflicts of interest. So the big idea is there, but the corporate reality is, well, it's messy. Of course, Musk has an ace up his sleeve. His insane advantage in hardware, like building a new gigabay to crank out starships. Google's strategy is less about one giant loop and more about 1,000 tiny ones. They're turning Google Photos into your own personal memory search engine with this new Ask button. They're trying to get ahead of the privacy nightmare with a provably private cloud for AI tasks. And they're putting their money where their mouth is with massive investments in infrastructure and even proving that, yeah, AI tutors can actually help students learn. It's this slow, steady, systematic push into pretty much every corner of our lives. But here's the thing. These grand strategies, they're only as good as the tools they actually create. And right now, the products themselves are a huge contradiction. Which brings us to the central paradox of AI today. These tools are, at the same time, absolutely brilliant and dangerously, deeply flawed. And this chart just says it all. Let's take Musk's AI, Grok. In one test, it was amazing. It showed real cultural nuance, correctly identifying a religious figure in a picture. Awesome, right? But then, a different study ranked it as the least empathetic and most dangerous AI out there for vulnerable users. Oh, and it totally failed on factual accuracy, helping spread a hoax and just making up its sources. So the lesson here is, you can't just measure one thing. A tool can be a genius in one area and a total liability in another. And this isn't just a problem for, social media. This has serious, real-world stakes. I mean, this quote is from an actual legal case. A lawyer used ChatGPT, and it just flat-out invented quotes from a trial. The court was not happy. It gets to a core problem. These models are built to sound right, not to be right. They're optimized for fluency, not truth, which is a recipe for disaster in professions where being accurate is, everything. And if you think that's bad, it gets way more alarming when you connect these flawed digital brains to actual physical robot bodies. A recent study basically gave the keys to a bunch of robots to these large language models, and the results were a massive red flag. The robots didn't just fail safety checks. They showed discriminatory behaviors and even okayed harmful ideas. This is exactly why researchers are now calling for safety certifications, just like we have for airplanes, because digital mistakes can lead to very real physical harm. Okay, so with all these dangerous flaws, how in the world is AI actually being used in the workplace?
This is where we have to shift from the wild hype to the much more cautious reality of how businesses are trying to use this stuff and what it really means for our jobs. So why are businesses even bothering? Well, it comes down to money. A lot of money. Just look at the banking industry. This thing called Agentic AI could potentially slash their costs by up to $800 billion a year. And Agentic AI is basically a smart assistant that doesn't just answer your questions, it can actually go and do things for you. A number that big? Yeah, no CEO on the planet can ignore that.
But here comes the reality check. Take a look at this chart. How many businesses are actually letting these AI agents run free with high autonomy? The answer is 0. Nobody. Not a single one. The huge majority are either building their own simple tools in-house, or at most, they're allowing some moderate autonomy, but it always requires a human to sign off on it. So the pattern is crystal clear. Lock the AI down, check its work, and always, always, always keep a human in the loop.
And this caution makes total sense, because underneath all the product launches and the business plans, there's a much deeper, much more fundamental battle going on. It's a battle over the actual blueprint for intelligence itself. And whoever wins could define what AI is for a generation. This right here, this is the real strategic heart of the AI race. You can pretty much sort everyone into 4 main camps. First, you've got the scaled LLMs. This is the OpenAI and Meta approach. The idea is just bigger is better, that real intelligence will just emerge if you can predict the next word on a big enough scale. But challenging them, you have world models. They argue that AI needs to understand how the world works, like physics, cause and effect, not just how words fit together. Then you've got the open models, like one coming out of China, that offer really high performance but with more transparency. And finally, you have small models, the ones designed to run right on your phone, which is great for privacy and speed. And if you think this is just some academic debate, get this. LeCun, who is literally one of the godfathers of modern AI and Meta's top AI scientist, is reportedly leaving to start a new company focused entirely on these world models. When a pioneer of his stature makes a huge move like that, it's a massive signal that maybe, just maybe, making today's language models bigger isn't the only way to get to true intelligence.
So all of these competing strategies, all of these flawed products, they're all being unleashed in a world that has almost no rules for them. And that brings us to our final, and honestly, probably most important point. The real race isn't just about who can build most powerful AI. It's about who can build the guardrails to manage it.
And as a society, we're facing at least 3 giant hurdles. First, the legal system is finally starting to catch up, setting precedents and making it clear that if you're a professional, you are responsible for what your AI spits out. Second, there's a physical bottleneck. The real thing slowing AI down might not be computer chips, but just sheer electricity and land for data centers. And third, we have to solve this information integrity crisis. We have to figure out how to fight back against AI's slop, that flood of garbage AI content online, and decide how we tell the difference between a reliable, human-run source like Wikipedia and a potentially made-up AI-generated one. So as we watch this incredible exponential explosion in what AI can do, from rebuilding our memories to running our robots, it really all comes down to one final critical question. We know AI's power is growing off the charts. The real test is whether our wisdom can grow fast enough to keep up.